Hello friends, I am extremely glad to stand before you with my second lecture on structuralism. Now, what is the meaning of structuralism? See, in my first lecture, I introduced this idea, and also I spoke, I think, about what is relationship and all those things. I hope you have understood that very well. And now you see, once again, maybe some of the points that I made in the first lecture, I might repeat, but don't worry about it. You see, now I am doing it deliberately, not because I am trying to say, I am wasting your time, yes. I am not wasting your time or my time, but in the context, sometimes it happens that I may have to repeat one or the other points that I have made already in my first lecture. Clear? Okay. So we go like this, structuralism. What is structuralism? Structuralism means a system of relations. Understand? A system of relationships. Now what is the system of relationships? The easiest way to find this out is take language. It all began with in 1916, as we have already seen, with Ferdinand de Saussure. So he said, there is in language, there is nothing but difference. And the difference is differential relationship. There it is. So language is a relational structure. So that's a very important point. Language, Saussure said, language is a relational structure or relational system, you can say. If you don't want to use the structure again, you can also say language is a relational system. I think that's better because we are always using the structure, it is very difficult also not to pronounce. Okay, so let's see. Structure is like this, some plosive thing, some explosion. Okay, relational system, and the best example, probably the proto-example you can say, the first example that is given by Saussure is language. So language is a relational system. What do you understand by that? That means in a relational system, an individual item has absolutely no meaning, no place, no locus standi, we say, no place. An individual item, if I take, because that structure is self-contained. That language, for example, is self-contained. It is a self-contained system of relationships. Understand? Now we'll take an example. Book. See, book. Now the book absolutely has no meaning if it stands alone in English. Now you will say, no, what nonsense are you talking, sir? Book, we know book, the textbook and notebook. See, not in that sense. In that case, what are you doing? You are going back, saying that language is a tool for naming. No. So you have to see, you have to think in the way that Saussure tried to think. That in language there is nothing except differences. So if you want to understand book, then you have to understand what? Something else. What is that? Book, I say ball. Book is ball. Book is book because it is not ball. And thus it goes, chain. Ball is ball because it is not a rock. Rock is rock because it is not a tree. So it goes on like that. There is a chain of relationship is there. That is chain. So if you want to know this, now how is this related? How is this single item related to how is it, in what place it has got in this relational structure or the language, or how can we prove it? Say we can prove it like this, And we should also understand that this is governed by certain rules. That is the thing. So a system of relationship governed by certain rules. Without that you can never think of what Saussure said, it is a system of relationship. Let's see how it works. I'll take an example today and show you how it works, the system of relationship what are the two types of relationship that language uses, and how these two types of relations have been applied to other areas of human activity and also human knowledge. Understand? So a book means, when you look at this, you will find it is a series of sounds. These are the three sounds. See, book. Bu, u, k. Book. Now what is this? B. You know, what is B? That is voiced, plosive, bilabial. Bilabial sound. Isn't it? U is a back rounded vowel. And then K, that is voiceless, velar, plosive. Very plosive, yes. So, individual items. Here it is, B, here U, and here K. No meaning. What meaning it is? You can just say like this. This is voice plosive answer. But when you put them together, see, in a relationship, and what is the relationship with it? Then in this sequence, it has sense. It has a kind of sense, we can say. Sense for that now it is a signifier, at least that much you can say. It's a symbol. Okay, stands for something. And what that something is, that you have to find out through oppositional relationship or differential relationship. As I already told you, book is book because it is not ball like that. Understand? Now, individual item, what is our first point? In a structure, individual items has no meaning. Individual items, for example, the B, U, and K, they are nothing, so to say. They are just phonemes. Certain rules are there. And what are the rules, let us say? See, in this case, what happens? There is a linear sequence. Isn't it? You are bringing this linear sequence. And linear sequence, there is an underlying rule that you can see when you find that, see the different, if you give a different linear sequence, then you will find that. Now, book is a signifier, we agree, and it has got a signified by because it has got a differential relationship with the other signifiers of English language. Only other signifiers of English language, understand? Yes. So, linear. In that case, what happens? You can also arrange this in this linear, say, U, U, B, K. You can also arrange it like this. But just now, absolutely no sense. Understand? Why? Or you can say, you can arrange it like this. In this way, you can arrange. But you cannot arrange it in this way. Why? Because there are certain underlying rules. In English, you cannot have such a sequence of phonemes. See, you have a sequence 1, sequence 2, sequence 3. So, in English relational system does not allow sequence 2 and 3. It allows only sequence 1. This is a kind of violence that you are doing on this sequence. You cannot do it. Why? Because you cannot this series or this linear arrangement is not allowed in English. That is the reason. Did you get that? Then what is the rule behind this? What is the underlying rule? The underlying rule is that in linear relationship or what we call syntagmatic relationship, linear sequence, syntagmatic relationship or linear relationship, 2 and 3 not allowed. Because the rules of the language will never allow a word to start with a signifier to start with U, B or K, B combination. It will only allow in this way. So that means the system automatically dictates you. The linear sequence of signifiers is already dictated by or fixed by a rule of relationship that we call syntagmatic relationship. Understand? There is one relationship that you find in language. Then the other one, see for example you say, you can substitute by let's say that U by A, then it becomes back. You can substitute A by I, then it becomes bike. But you cannot substitute I by E in the sequence, then it will become big. Big has no meaning. Do you understand that? The frame B and K is there. The vowels you substitute. You can substitute in this context A and I, but not E. Or others say B. See this one. You cannot do this. Why can't you do this? Because here there is a relationship that you can substitute one for the other. Still, you are keeping or you are not violating any underlying principles or rules. So substitutability is another relationship. Linear substitutability is vertical, and that we call paradigmatic. Paradigmatic. So, English language is governed by two relationships, system of relationship, and that is one is syntagmatic relationship, that is linear sequence, and the other is paradigmatic relationship, that is vertical sequence, or substitutability we can say. Understand that? So there are limitations. There are 44 phonemes. You cannot substitute all the other 43 phonemes here instead of this. Why? Because there are certain fixed pattern or rules that is hidden. Did you understand that? So if you want to find out the real operation, how English language works, you should try to find out the syntagmatic and the paradigmatic relationship that is existing in the language. But this we call by another name grammar. Grammar. So you should know the grammar of this language. Grammar. Now when you break up the grammar, first the relationship level, what you understand is this. Now I will take another example and show you how a syntagmatic relation can become violent. See, this is a book. You say like that. This is a book. Instead of you say, this is an and. The syntagmatic relation is violated. Why? Because you have violated the substitutability or the paradigmatic relation also. So how they are connected? You can, on the other hand, you can say this is a book, this is an ant, this is an ant, this is a car, this is a chair, this is lots of things you can substitute. Because why? Because these have got associations, mental associations. Mental associations with this. When you come to say this is an ant, then immediately that association is broken. So here what happens is that you have broken both the relationships. So that is not that you are committing violence on the language, or when you break the rules, you commit violence. For example, as a gentleman, you are not supposed to kick a person. Suppose you kick a person without reason, you are committing violence. So in our social behavior also there are underlying principles. We are coming to that later. So for the time being, you understand it like this. Okay. So language, we are speaking about English language. In English language or all languages, but now we are talking about this. They work on relationships. Structure, that is the thing. Now you understand that. Language is a system of relationships. System. Language is a system of relation. And only in this relationship, individual items have meaning. For example, ant. When it is not in accordance with the relationship, it has no meaning. What it has done is it has destroyed the entire structure, entire utterance, so to say. In this case also, when the linear sequence is broken, what happens? It has destroyed that signifier. So there is structure. And in English we have seen there are two relationships. One is a linear and the other is one vertical. Vertical means substitutability. That's why you have got many sentences of the same type. So if, for example, this can be substituted by that, but this cannot be in this structure substituted by these, then you are breaking that relationship. Language is a system of relationship or a relational system. Language is a relational system. And this is what we are applying to Levi-Strauss and other structuralists like Franz Boas, and you have other Edward Sapir, such people. In fact, they are US structuralists, so to say, linguists. So they have been applying or they have been telling us. Understand? So you have this. I hope you understood what this relationship is. Ultimately, this is the grammar, but how the grammar is, as we can see, being applied. And that is, you see, another interesting thing about this is that it is deep in your minds. It is a kind of mental infrastructure. There is a kind of mental infrastructure that is unconscious within us. It's because of this you say, oh, this is wrong, this is violence. This is correct. You can substitute it in this way. You got that point. That is structuralism. Ultimately, that is system. There is a system. See now, after this, so far we have seen. Now let us see a structuralist analysis of Thomas Hardy's novel. I am making an attempt. See, as I always say, do not mock me, fellow student, because this is something that came to my mind. After, of course, reading, I have got support. I mean, books, and I have listened to lectures, talked to greater people than me, then clarified doubts and so on. Far from the madding crowd. Let us see how this structural relationship works. Syntagmatic and also paradigmatic. And then what happens to ultimately what is that novel? That's what these structuralists are trying to find out. What is the underlying deep structures? What do you see, these separate things like that, a novel or a sentence? These are the separate utterances. From where do they come? What is the origin? That's what the structure is trying to do. They go deep into it. In other words, what we have already seen, Ferdinand de Saussure's distinction, lang and parole. When you see a novel, that is a parole. It is not lang. So, from where does this parole come from? A poem is only a parole. When we are now in relation to English language, I am talking. So, I hope you are following me. So, therefore, we will see this. Just make an attempt, 5 more minutes, will you please suffer with me? It's a kind of suffering, isn't it? Yes. So we have got the far from the madding crowd, isn't it? Far from the madding crowd. So this is the novel by Thomas Hardy. You remember, no? Because I think that you might have did this in your either in MA or in BA. So that's what I thought of taking this an exam. Now what you find there is a structure. What is the structure? There is a syntagmatic relation first. The syntagmatic relation is Bathsheba Everday. Bathsheba. Okay? You remember now Bathsheba? Yes. Now, the syntagmatic relation level you have got to Bathsheba, then Troy. Okay, Sergeant Troy. And you have got you have plus bold root. You remember bold root. Then you have another oak, Gabriel oak. So this is syntagmatic level, we can say. Understand? Now this in syntagmatic level, Troy can be replaced by bold root. So that's okay. Troy can be substituted by oak. That is your paradigmatic level. But there is violence. What is the violence there? The violence is in this chain comes Fanny. Fanny Robin. See that? Already that syntagmatic relationship is broken. Understand? So far it's okay. Bathsheba, Troy, Bathsheba, Boldwood, Bathsheba, Oak is alright. But when it comes to Bathsheba, Fanny Robin, that syntagmatic relation is broken. Did you see that? Then what happens is, resulting is violence. Sorry, violence. Violence, or we can say violence is committed, or the grammar changes. Grammar. The grammar, there is a mistake. There is a mistake in the grammar of the relationship. So, result is conflict. Conflict 1. Conflict 1. Now there is another one. Another is broken. What is that? That is, you have Bathsheba, Troy. Bathsheba, Troy. Okay, that is fine. But when it comes to, say, Troy, Bathsheba, and Fanny. Now what happens? The syntagmatic and the paradigmatic relationship broken. Right? You cannot have Troy with this linear relationship that is broken. Why? Because after Bathsheba there has no place for Troy. Fanny. It will be like this now. This man meets two, or something like that. See that? And then in this case, this cannot be substituted. The paradigmatic relation is also broken. Here, the syntagmatic relation is broken. Here, the paradigmatic relation is broken. So, next is conflict. See that? Conflict comes in there also. Understand? So, then here again we have got other say when we come to Bathsheba plus towards the end of it, Oak, Gabriel Oak. What happens then? Bathsheba, Gabriel Oak. That is perfectly alright, that relation. But then, after, this cannot be substituted by bold root. Put it this way, bold root, Bathsheba, that way. Bold root, Bathsheba, Bathsheba. That is syntagmatic relation. That is not possible. So what happens is, there again comes conflict. So, in one word, not only in this case, but in all the novels you can say, poems you can say, the central idea is conflict. The structuralist analysis will tell you This is my idea. Will tell you that the underlying principles of all the works of art, all great works of art is only one thing, and what is that? That is conflict. Now, how the conflict is created, that is a different thing. See, for example, in a chess game, what is the underlying principle in the chess game? The underlying principle in the chess game is a conflict between two people. But how that conflict is created by placing different pawns, different members of the different chessmen, that is a different thing. See that? So when you say, sometimes you may think that I am speaking nonsense. But you see, you just look at this. Then you will see that there is some sense in this. Not all nonsense. I am not committing violence on this structuralism. See, already there. Bathsheba, in this way, no, syntagmatic, linear structure we can say. Bathsheba, Troy, Boldwood, okay. But here in this, the violence is created by the presence of Fanny. When Fanny comes, everything is, so to say, vanishes into thin air, because Troy, Fanny. Understand? Troy, Fanny creates a huge conflict here with Bathsheba. So, conflict 1. Conflict 2, Bathsheba, Fanny. Conflict 2. Conflict 3, Bathsheba, no, Troy, Boldwood, Bathsheba. Boldwood, Bathsheba, there is conflict. And that conflict is resolved when there is what we call the syntagmatic relation. The spelling mistakes all gone. See, for example, we find Bathsheba, finally, Bathsheba plus Troy, we have seen Boldwood plus Oak and Fanny. So this is this one. Now this is gone, this disappeared, this mistake is gone, this grammar mistake is gone. So then what happened? Bathsheba Oak. So the conflict is resolved. Gabriel Oak. Now what is the role of the rustic characters, you will ask. That is the way you can say like this. They don't have a direct role in the structure, in the conflict. Because the conflict is the central idea, the epicenter we can say. Let's just we are so familiar with Maha, then Bulbul, Katrina, and all those. We have got you have already experiencing this now. The effects of Katrina, the effects of Maha, and then the effects of Bulbul and all those things. We are already experiencing. So like that, and they create a lot of violence and destruction. Just like that, the conflict, the epicenter of this novel is, just as you have earthquake, is conflict. And the conflict arises from two wrong relationships, both in the syntagmatic and in the paradigmatic. The syntagmatic relation we saw, that is here, this is the syntagm is broken. In paradigmatic we saw that is substitutability. For example, Bathsheba, Troy gone, Bathsheba, Boldwood gone, but Bathsheba Oak. In that relationship, those two cannot be substituted for Oak. Only Oak can come there. Gabriel Oak can come there. So you have got a conflict 1, 2, 3. Understand? So what is the center of this novel? What is the underlying principle of this novel? Or what is in the deep the deep mental structure of the novel. The novel means the novelist, so to say. In that case, it's nothing but, or you can say leave the novelist as such. Because the novelist got this idea from where? It is already there. He is just using it. So it is not his. The conflict is not his making. The conflict, that idea of conflict is there in the mental structures, or we can say in the in the unconscious mental infrastructures of humans. The mental infrastructures of humans, this is there. The conflict is there. So you are not making anything new. What are you doing is, as I told you in my first lecture, you have got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now when you write 3, 4, 5, 6, this is not your making. It is this underlying structure you are using it. Exactly like that, conflict is an element that is hidden, or it is in the unconscious mental structures of humans. See that? In nature also you find this, in nature. So, when what happens is, it is being created. It is being presented by using certain chessmen. So, and those chessmen are, and what happens when we read this? You enjoy that. Art is, the primary purpose of art, according to Aristotle, is pleasure. Pleasure is the primary. A famous statement by Horace, that is, dulce et utile. Yes. Dulce et utile, or utile et dulce. Utile et dulce. Dulce means pleasure, that is sweet, dulce. Pleasure, utile means use. So use and pleasure. Use means you can learn something from it. So finally we have reduced the far from the mighty ground to a conflict. See that? And the conflict is of course presented or created by using certain chessmen. And chessmen means, this chessmen you will find everywhere. All novels you will find. There will be some chessmen here and there. So it's just like a chess game. Understand? To that level. I hope you understand. So a structuralist analysis of far from the mighty crowd will end up like this. It is nothing but a conflict that exists. The idea of conflict that exists in the mental structures of human, but unconscious. The unconscious mental structures of humans. So it's not anything that you are not the originator. And from there you have got this and conventions etc. from culture, existing culture. So you have got that cry, death of the author. How far that is true, or should we agree to that? These things depends on further discussions and study. I hope. Now if you take up now that famous story, Christmas gift of Magi, Stella and Jim, there is a conflict. But that conflict is comic conflict. In comedy also there is conflict, but then that is a soft one. So finally what is that? The syntagmatic relationship and paradigmatic relationship. The paradigmatic relationship is broken because the chain cannot be substituted by the comb. The chain and comb. The chain cannot be substituted by the comb, and comb cannot be substituted by the chain. So that is the violence of the. That is how the paradigmatic relation is broken, or you are doing harm. Syntagmatic relation is broken like this. That is your hair and wrist. Hair and the wrist is broken. Because when you are putting hair plus wrist, then there is a total breakdown. Because the lady Stella does not have hair, and the other man does not have watch. What is the use of this chain? Beautiful, isn't it? Yes. So that's began. I think that almost all the works of art, not almost all the works of art, according to this structuralism, you cannot but analyze it in this way. We shall someday analyze the T.S. Eliot's famous poem, The Wasteland, in this, using these structural principles. What happens to the syntagmatic relationship? What happens to the paradigmatic relationship? Okay, so let's see that. Let's together do that. Till then, bye. Have a nice day. I hope that I haven't confused you as far as possible. I was trying to be very simple and plain, and with examples I have shown it. So think of even a sequence of phonemes, there is a rule, underlying rule. So linear sequence has a rule. Also, the vertical sequence also has a rule. Substitutability, that's the thing. And then what about sentence? Morphemes. Phonemes are there? Phonemes, you have morphemes. When you put phonemes together, you get morphemes, and morphemes, number of morphemes put together, you have a larger structure called a sentence. And there also you find the same thing, syntagmatic and paradigmatic. Syntagmatic is linear. I have already given you the example. This is a city, you can write. You cannot say this is a T-O, or this is an inn, you cannot say. Why? This is a city is perfectly alright. But the moment you substitute city for inn, then you have broken both the relationship. So strictly, structuralism, language is a strict structure governed by syntagmatic and paradigmatic relationships, which is where we find this in the unconscious mental infrastructures of humans.